Reading about Scrum is one thing, but actually doing it, that's a whole other ballgame. So we're going to look at a really cool way to close that gap, a project simulation that drops you right out of the textbook and into the real world.
And that's the big question, right? You've memorized the terms, you've read the guides, but how do you actually get that hands-on experience that makes everything just click? How do you build that agile muscle memory?
Well, the answer starts with a simple change in how you think about it. This isn't a class, it's a mission. You're not just a student anymore, you're part of a crew, and you've got a job to do. Build something real. That switch from just listening to actually doing, that's where the magic happens.
Okay, so every mission's got to have a launch sequence. In this simulation, it all starts with the kickoff. This is where you get your team, you get your assignment, and you figure out which way is up. The kickoff really boils down to 3 critical moves. First, you get into your crew. You self-organize into a cross-functional team that'll stick together for the whole mission. Next, the product owner, usually your instructor, lays out the project vision, the big why. And finally, you get your initial product backlog. Think of it like your first set of marching orders, but it's a living document that your team is going to own and change as you go.
All right, now we get into the real meat of it, living that Scrum rhythm. And this isn't a one-and-done deal. It's a cycle. You're going to run through 3 complete sprints, and that's where all the learning, all the work really happens.
The heart of this whole thing beats in a really steady rhythm. Every single sprint you do will be built around 5 key events. This structure is basically the engine of Scrum. It gives you the predictability you need to be truly agile. Let's break them down. So every sprint kicks off with sprint planning. This is your huddle. It's the strategy session where your team looks at the big list, decides what can we realistically get done, sets a super clear goal for the sprint, and maps out a plan to make it happen. After that, you've got the daily pulse of the project, the daily Scrum. It's fast. Just a 15-minute sync up. It's not about solving problems on the spot. It's about checking in, seeing if anyone's stuck, and tweaking the plan for the next 24 hours. It just keeps the whole team in lockstep.
So in between those quick daily huddles is, the actual work. This is the heads down time where your team is building the product. And then at the end of the work cycle, you hold a sprint review. Now, this is way more than just a demo. It's your chance to show off your done work to stakeholders and get that crucial feedback to guide what you do next. And the very last event of the sprint? The retrospective. It's where the team stops, takes a breath, and looks inward. You get to talk honestly about what worked, what was a pain, and then, this is the key part, you make a real plan to get better in the next sprint. It's all about getting a little bit better every single time.
Now, all this activity, it's not just for show. You are literally forging a product. So let's talk about the tangible things you create, the actual treasure your crew gets to build during this mission. To keep all this work organized, you're going to lean on 2 key artifacts. First up is the product backlog. That's the master wish list for the entire product. But then, for each sprint, you create a sprint backlog. And that's a much smaller, super focused list of only the stuff you've promised to do right now. Think of it this way. One is the roadmap for the whole country, the other is your turn-by-turn GPS for the next few miles. And here's a really important idea. At the end of every single sprint, you don't just have a pile of code. You have what's called a potentially shippable increment. And that just means the piece you built is integrated, it's tested, and it's actually usable. It's a real slice of the final product that gets bigger and better with every cycle. So by the time you're done, just look at the treasure you've collected. You'll have a fully groomed and prioritized product backlog. You'll have the records of your 3 sprint backlogs. And best of all, you'll have a working piece of software that's the result of all your hard work. And you get to wrap it all up with a final presentation. Which brings us to the grand finale. It's time to showcase your journey. The final presentation isn't just some boring report. It's the chance to tell the story of your team's entire adventure, from beginning to end.
Your whole experience, all 3 sprints, it all comes together in this one final presentation. This is your moment. You get to demo the thing you actually built, and you get to tell the story of how you built it, the ups, the downs, and everything you figured out along the way.
So what do you share? Well, you'll show off your working product, of course. You'll talk about your team's journey through those 3 sprints. You'll even share some cool metrics like how your team's velocity changed over time. But honestly, the most important part, it's sharing what you learned. What you really discovered about Scrum, about working as a team, and about building great stuff.
And with that, the simulation is over. You've done it. You've gone from just knowing the theory to having real, practical skills and something to show for it. But this isn't really the end, is it? It's a beginning. The only question left is, what are you going to build next?